My name is Steve Blackburn. I'm the Xbox lead for New Zealand.
Great. So with regards to Xbox in New Zealand, and particularly all the live content, what are the key difficulties that you face, and how are you trying to address them?
So in terms of live in New Zealand, I mean, we've got a really good user base in New Zealand. I mean, our gamers are really passionate about live, big online community. I think one of the things that you face being in New Zealand is scale. Is having that scale that you can kind of make some investments. We've seen a whole bunch of announcements here around some of the media partners that we're bringing to the service. We're always looking to how we can do that. There are certain things that we can enable quickly. We've got voice coming in New Zealand this year. We've got YouTube, things like that will release in our market. So where we can take those global apps and apply them, we will. I think in terms of media partners, we're keen. We're looking to how we can make that work for New Zealand, but nothing to announce at this point.
So obviously New Zealand internet is a significant barrier. Is there any way you can work around that?
New Zealand internet as in?
As in how it is.
Interesting announcements from Telecom recently, and so look, I mean, it's going to get better, and I think that's the thing is it'll get more competitive. It'll be really good for gamers, but it's also just the scale of the country in terms of just having the sheer number of people to be able to offer those kind of services in New Zealand. That's just a fact that I think Kiwis are kind of used to living with on a whole range of fronts. But where we can make kind of smart deals to do things, we will.
So Xbox is the largest current generation console in New Zealand. How did you make that work, and how do you intend to grow that?
I think by doing kind of similar things that we do to the rest of the world, which is really we've taken a lot of feedback from our gamers, listening to what they want. I think we've also had some great product that we put out there. And in terms of growing that, you'd seen the last year with Kinect. We've done some great work in Kinect in New Zealand in particular, and Australia as well. The content really resonates. I think we've had a little bit of a lack of content the last few months. We're kind of trying to put that right. I think we've also, in terms of some of the core gamers who love our platform, giving them reasons to come on board over the next 6 months has been really important. I think that came out in our press conference, some of the stuff that you see around the show at the moment. So, we're pretty confident at this point and pretty excited by the possibilities in the lead up to this Christmas. And then I think the other challenge that we have, is looking at broader market. I think, if you saw what worked on Central Sports and kind of some of the consumers that started to come over and kind of suddenly be engaged with console gaming or switching from other consoles, got excited about the possibilities of gaming on the platform without a controller, you've seen us really start to deliver and ramp up this Christmas. Some of the games we've announced, Star Wars, Dance Central 2, some of these really appeal to different demographics than are on the console today. It's pretty exciting times.
Cool, so we can just go back to the Kinect launch last year. Can you tell us a little bit about its successes or shortcomings?
In terms of the launch, I mean, it went very well. I mean, we don't have numbers that were announced for Australia and New Zealand, as you know, but I mean, we're delighted with it. We've been selling our bundled Kinect sensors with the Xboxes, and they've just been flying off the shelves. Done very well. Feedback from retail, feedback from consumers is that they're loving it. And again, I think, I'm not sure I'd kind of pinpoint one particular thing that we've done. I think our approach in terms of the content's been key, and I think that's kind of resonated. And then I also just think, being on TV, kind of doing that kind of marketing-led push as well has really helped. Again, core gamers, they get it. They kind of research this information. I think, we're also learning a lot about marketing to people that go into the warehouse and want to pick something up, and so being on TV, making sure that you're doing kind of work to make sure they're getting information, whether it's catalogs, whether it's working with retail partners, whether it's working with publisher partners to get that information out there is pretty vital. We're not consumers who are going to necessarily go off and dig into the internet and go through forums and forums discussing a game. It's just very different marketing. So we're learning, and we're open to kind of ideas, suggestions. We get a lot of feedback from the community. We also get a lot of feedback from partners as well. So it's exciting times.
So obviously Nintendo is the only platform holder that doesn't have an established presence in New Zealand, and they've announced a new console at E3 today, or yesterday. What are your thoughts on the Wii U?
Yeah, good question. I think probably share the same thoughts as a lot of people, which is fascinating concept. Nintendo, always have an interesting, slightly different approach in terms of console releases. The proof of the pudding is going to be in the eating. We'll see when it comes out next year, at what point that will be, and see what it's capable of. I mean, I showed a lot of concept videos, a lot of ideas in there. Getting those to market, some of those are difficult. So, TBD, I guess, on kind of where it goes from there. But, it's always good to see innovation in the market. love having competitors that are doing different things. It keeps us on our toes. It's challenged us over the last few years to, you look at, many of you guys were around when Wii was announced here, and a lot of people just wrote Nintendo off. And hey, you know what? Completely changed the gaming market. So never underestimate what they're going to do, but we'll kind of see if they can deliver on it.
Moving on to games now. Obviously, Western markets are fairly established and fairly similar in what they buy, but are there any unique characteristics in New Zealand? Is there a trend for games that perhaps are huge in New Zealand and not elsewhere?
Not particularly, I think sports obviously does very well down under. I think that's just part of the culture that we have down there. I think, again, the people that are on the console, there's a lot of core gamers, and they love the stuff that we're doing. So not particularly. Dance Central's done particularly well. I don't know whether I didn't think of Kiwis as natural dancers, but maybe. I don't know. You go down Queen Street on a Friday night, maybe. I don't know.
Okay, so moving on to your upcoming titles. What are your top 3 Xbox exclusives coming up?
Tricky question. I grew up with Star Wars, so I'm pretty stoked that that's coming out. I've had a couple of goes on a demo. It's a pretty decent game. I've seen obviously a few bits and pieces that we're not showing on the floor today. A lot of variety there, so I'd say that would have to be in there for sure. I'm also I grew up with games, so I'm wearing my Gears of War t-shirt. So for me, September 20 is going to be a huge day. So I can't wait for Gears, of course. And then I'd probably say, well, I'm not really a racing fan per se. I've always struggled. I'm not a particularly great driver in the real world. I'm a really lousy driver in the virtual world.
Do you stay in man-troll, though?
Well, yeah, I try to stay in man-troll as much as I can. It's that little box at the end. When they go in the house, you have to go down to the dungeon. It's kind of the man dungeon. So yeah, I'm probably, I try to stay in man-troll. But in the virtual world, it's just looking at what they've done in terms of both the car experience, which you should go and see and play around with, is phenomenal. I think having Top Gear on board is also exciting. And I also think that just the sheer look and the beauty and the quality of it, it's phenomenal. And I'm no big car fan. I'm like, I'm going to give that a damn good go, and I'm going to try to become a better racer. Also, wireless racing wheel, that's pretty cool as well, so I've got to give that a try.
Is there such a thing as too much Halo?
There's never enough Halo. No, I think Halo 10th anniversary. I don't know if you've had a chance to see it much up close.
Oh, yeah.
It's phenomenal. I mean, it's, being able to flick back and forth between the two styles, to see the old style, which at the time was impressive, right? And then you just see what they've done with it. It's from, other little bits of content they've added in there and stuff. I mean, for the Halo fan, it's a must-have, and a pretty decent street price is kind of planned for it as well. And I think, I don't know, I mean, to tease on Halo 4, it was just a bit mind-blowing. So again, being a big Halo fan, for me, you can never have enough Halo.